All right, have at it. What's up, At? How you doing, buddy? All right. It's my idol over there.
What'd you see from the first joint practice yesterday?
Yeah, I thought it was a good day's work. I think both sides, you get out of these things, particularly when you have a great partner to work with. There's so much that you get out of this work. You get to see different looks. Now, the one thing with this team, we're both seeing the same offense, so. But the defensive looks, I mean, that's invaluable for our guys. It's also great to watch, your players when the competitive juice comes up a little, because you're playing against someone else, and get to see, much like a game, how some guys can handle it in practice, and you take a next step up, and this is still practice, but it's doing against someone else. Some guys handle it real well. Some guys take a step back, and so that's all part of the evaluation. But I think it was good, solid work. I thought the coaches, I think, did a tremendous job of letting our guys know. And I think Vic even said to his guys, "Hey, these are our teammates for the next couple days." And Kyle reiterated it. And that doesn't mean that you're not competing your tail off, but it means let's respect each other. And I felt like the guys did a real good job of that.
Were you able to spend much time with John yesterday, and what kind of resource was he for you when you got into the business?
Yeah, I was able to spend time with John and Matt Russell and all these guys. John was a tremendous resource. He's a good friend. We've got a lot of parallels, from where we went to school, and two-sport players. And I used to try to walk pigeon-toed so I'd be more like him, and all those things, But now to call him a friend, and I think. The little bit of time, in an off season when he had me come in here was very integral in my motivation to do this, and saying, hey, this might be something that someday, I'd like to do. And so he's been a tremendous resource, and I have a great amount of respect and admiration for him and everything he's done.
Any Broncos jump out at you as you watched the tape yesterday?
Yeah, that 58 guy was all right. he's quite a player. They've got a nice roster, and so I think there's reason to be excited. I think Vic's doing a tremendous job of running a tough camp, but they've got some players on that roster, and they're gonna, I think it's gonna be a good football team. Really do.
What do you think of Vic as a 60-year-old first-time head coach?
I think it's probably long overdue that he got his shot, and I think I've long respected his style. I remember being in a production meeting with him when he was with the Niners, and one of the things I love about him, there's some old school, and I remember saying, hey, you just came from Stanford. I know you've been in the league, but you've got Pat Willis and you've got Navarro Bowman, and he's, they're all right, but his point was, and I talked to him later, hey, if, there's a few great players, and if we use great all the time, and I think that's the way he looks at things. He doesn't get too blown away, and but he believes in sound football, and his teams play that way, and they have over the years. They've also made a ton of plays, and I think he deserves this opportunity. I'm thrilled to see him have it.
What did you learn about Rich Gangrel in his time in San Francisco, and did you expect him to be pretty sought after as a coordinator?
Yeah, I think I was telling someone yesterday, I think the time that I probably, where I saw Skangs kind of, show us what he had was when we traded for Jimmy. He had other quarterbacks that he was preparing to play and, building a game plan each week. But he also had this job of getting a quarterback who we had invested a lot in up to speed in a completely different offense. A lot of verbiage where they didn't have that in New England. And so just to watch his work ethic and the effectiveness with which he did that and got Jimmy to a point where we could stick him in and play him. And he was, I think he impressed the heck out of me there. And, I think his story, everything from basically volunteering in Atlanta, and sleeping on couches and all those things, to going off to Wagner College because he wanted to call plays, and all those things impressed me, and I think he's deserving of the opportunity, and I think he'll do really well.
John, you have nice facilities like this across the league now. opposed to when you were playing, the game is a little bit bare. What do you think are the challenges, even though it's nice to have these luxury places? What are the challenges of camp nowadays?
Well, it's a little different than Patrick can attest to old $1 place, where we had coaches in closets and things. But I think these players have every resource available to them, and it's what they want to do with it. And so they have great things, but nice facilities don't win games. They may help you bring a free agent in or something like that, and they're sure nice, but that's not what wins and loses games. It's still what's done on those lines, and those fields still look very similar to when I was here. So, I think that will never change.
Have you gotten a chance to connect with Champ at all since his induction?
Yeah, we've talked a lot, and was extremely proud of Champ, the way he handled himself. That was a no-brainer in my mind. He's first ballot. There's played with a lot of great players, but there's a few, the Warren Sapps, the Champ Baileys, the Derek Brooks, the Rondé Barbers, that kind of were up there at just kind of that, just different. And he was one of those, and had so much respect once I was around him, because you knew how athletic he was, but the way he prepared himself each week, and he did so quietly, but I think I learned a lot from him, and hopefully he learned some from me. So.
Were you taken aback by your banner up there?
Yeah, I had not seen that, so that's pretty cool. That was cool. And
how about the facilities around here?
Yeah, they've done such a great job. One thing that I saw with Mr. B when I was here, which I always appreciated, is kind of every year there were a couple projects going on, and I think when you do that, the place never gets to, we got to completely redo it. And this is an example, and I haven't had a chance to go inside yet, but looking forward to going and seeing the new stuff in there. They've done a tremendous job here, and gives me a lot to go home and talk to Jed about.
You guys good?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Joe.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, John.